got it just the right size and he stuffed it. We could go to these dances, good bands. Our theory was that the bride would think the bridegroom invited us, and the bridegroom would think the bride invited us. It worked every time. It was the beginning of my realization that if you act like you belong somewhere, nobody bothers you. I did not know I was in El Barrio until I went out of it. The first time I went to a party and somebody said, "So where you from?" And I said, "East Los Angeles." And they got this really panicked look on their face and went about 3 steps back. It used to hurt my feelings. But what really bothered me was sometimes they lean forward and they say, "So where's your knife?" And sometimes I wished I had a knife so I could cut out their racist tongues. I didn't realize I had an accent until I was in college. And someone asked me, "So what's a big street by where you used to live?" And I said, "Whittier." And they all started to laugh. And I said, "What's so funny about Whittier?" And they kept laughing. And finally someone stopped and said, "You don't say Whittier, you say Whittier." I didn't know how I had an accent. I mean, where I grew up, everybody spoke the same. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. And so I began to move away from my cultura, my culture, my raíz. I went towards a white world. I married a white man, and I did well in the white world. But I didn't know that I had a hole in my heart. That I was missing my familia, my family. That I was missing Spanish, the sound of Spanish, of my friends. And I was missing the way that we Latinos greet each other with hugs and kisses. I had moved with my husband to Northern California, Humboldt County. And ooh, it was white there. Really white. There were no people of color. I missed seeing the Latinos and the black people and the Asians. There were Native Americans, but they never came out of the reservations. And one day I got invited to go to one of the ceremonies. And I went and I was stunned. Because all of the old people looked like my aunts and my uncles. Oh, there was my Tio Loli and my Tia Nanny and my Tia Licha and all the women bossing everybody around and acting like they weren't. I was home. I went to all the ceremonies and I loved the drumming and the dancing and the singing. I loved the ritmos, but they were not my ritmos. I began to make my return to my ritmos with Cesar Chavez, the United Farm Worker Union leader. I liked the way he was saying that everybody should be treated equally. And my return continued when I went to Mexico, not Tijuana, but Mexico City. And when I saw those pyramids and I realized that my ancestors had built those, I was stunned. I went to the museos, the museums. I listened to the sweet lilting sound of Spanish. I listened to the music, and when I went back to East Los Angeles, I saw beauty. And my final return to my cultura was through storytelling. Telling the stories from the folklorico de Latin America, and telling the stories from my family. I would go on into the Latino communities and something inside me would go, Finally I realized that I had to move to a place where there were more Latinos. And so I moved to San Jose, California. And now I'm the one that goes out into the community and I say to people, you must tell the stories. You must tell the stories. You must get the stories from your families, because if you do not, they will die. Yes, I live in San Jose. I hang around with Latinos. I speak Spanish. And not too surprisingly, I'm dancing again. Oh, I've always danced. But I'm a salsa dancer. I'm a salsera.
Yeah.